Hello everyone, welcome to Mathspace. Thanks for joining with us in learning web development. As part of web development, we are currently learning front-end technology is known as HTML. HTML means hypertext markup language which web browser can understand. We shall continue learning HTML tags in this session. Let's get started. We are very happy and most exciting to inform you all my happy learners and first time visitors. Our Mathspace knowledge corpus is get growing day by day. Please do visit us our YouTube channel Mathspace www.youtube.com/Mathspace. Sure thing is some takeaway as per as knowledge concern. Okay. Please do subscribe the channel and support us. Please drop a message, we'll get back. Here is our today's learning agenda. In this session, we're gonna see the some of the HTML tags which we use most frequently as a beginner. Okay, assuming that we are actually creating a website, any typical website. We have not discussed in detail like in what website that we are going to create it, how I actually laid out and all, which we can cover in the following sessions. But let's have a context of we are here to create a website. Okay, so what is the first thing that we have to see? We need a development environment, which we talked about. Development environment is like a IDE for me, right? So I am preparing VS Code. So but you still can use like your own IDE or whichever you like it. Okay, Visual Studio Code is like a VS Code. Okay, I have covered those things in the previous sessions. If you have not gone through, feel free to actually revisit the video sessions. Okay, once I have IDE is ready, and then I created a folder structure for creating my website. This is the typically the folder structure that I created, but I still can refine based out of if I need as I progress on my development. Okay, that's the thought process that I wanted to set a context for you all. Okay, I have a website name and then I have a root within which I created a subfolders. These subfolders basically what I was thinking of needed for me for following. Okay, but we can talk about, like I said, CSS, images, JavaScript, media, pages. Pages is HTML pages. HTML pages means like the files, HTML files. Okay, whenever in file system point of view, whenever you are trying to create a file, you have to give a name to the file. Agree? So what is a typically name that you are going to give, and what extension that file look like, right? So that's the first thing that I wanted to cover. File name. You can give a file name as per your wish, but the extension of the file should be .html. Okay, whenever you see .html, that means like it's an HTML file. That is simple way that you can recognize the HTML files. File name is a meaningful name is what you supposed to give anyway, right? You know that. So I give an example like file name, sample file name .html, but if you look at the following things, you still can recognize like in file names. This is again, it's not a standard way of actually representing, but to recognize the content that I'm presenting within the file is what I am referring my file name in this context. Okay, don't use as like a standard reference, but it is a sample. Great. So whenever you have a HTML file, the basic thing that I wanted to cover is like a root HTML tag. In the HTML content, when we are actually building a website, right, that what you are see like you have to use the HTML elements. HTML elements represented by the HTML tags. HTML tag has a meaning. Every HTML tag has its own meaning, and then all web browsers, wherever you are rendering this information, so you should always assume that HTML browser has a knowledge to understand and recognize and renders your HTML tags, and and after processing, after rendering, it displays on a console. In our case, it's like a web browser. Okay, so HTML is like a root password, a root HTML tag, I mean, okay, root tag. So any HTML, view source, if you can see, you have this tag for sure. Okay, HTML. So what you are docu type is like a one-time appearance on your HTML page, but this basically tells that docu type is like an HTML, and then standard probably HTML latest standard 5 HTML5 is what web browser recognizes and process accordingly. Okay, the language part, this an attribute given as a language equal en means like English language, right? Okay, you got it. So any file that you see, the root tag you should have to see as a HTML. Okay, so one more thing that I wanted to recap you folks is that there is a syntax, right, for using the tags. You have a starting tag and ending tag. This is called a starting tag, this is called ending tag. HTML only recognition between the start and end is like this, the forward symbol, forward backslash and forward slash, right? This is the forward slash. Clear? That is how you can recognize, otherwise rest of things remain same. Okay, now let's look into basic structure of the HTML or HTML tags, which we spoke about anyway, but I wanted to recap here in this context. We have three main things that you have to see in any web page. One is HTML as like a root HTML tag information, within which every other information should be included. That's an idea. Okay, so what is that other two sections, main sections that you have is like a head section and a body section. Okay, this is the start of the starting tag, this is the ending tag for head and head. The only noticeable difference is like this forward slash. Like we have a body. Okay, body section is basically what we use for actually representing presenting the content and the web page is what we have, right? We should have to have in body section or body container is what we normally refer it. So do you understand now? We have a HTML tag is a root tag, within which I have a head tag and a body tag. Okay, I don't want to respell every time like starting of the tag, ending of the tag. When I say like main sectional tags, you always assume that starting and ending must be. If you don't have a start and end, like what happens, like it recognizes there is an error, and then it actually displays the error message, which we can talk about later. Okay, now let me just open this in web browser. We will see like what happens. I will open this from my Chrome browser. So you see this now, there is no content, right? So I don't really add anything here. So I don't see anything in this also. Clear? Great. So but one recognition that I have is like my file name here is 1.1 structural underscore tags.html, which is what I am seeing as a tab name in the web browser. Let me see like how I can rename it anyway. Okay, so how do you rename it? Let's look at this example. In order you to rename the web browser tab, what you have to use is like you have to use a title tag. Okay, this title tag must be included in your head section in this case, right? In head section you are using like a title tag, and then your given name is like a Maths Bridge. Let's now run this and then see the change. Okay, let me run this. I selected this one, I am running, and then open. Do you see now what you recognize here? Maths Bridge. You renamed the the tab, web browser tab name, right? Is called a title. Title is always refers the tab name. So you can customize the names, whatever you would want to wish on the web browser page. Clear? Great. So now so far you will learn like a head, body, HTML, head, body, and a title. 4 tags what we covered. Okay, let me go back now to the next one. Interesting. There is one more concept called a comments. Do you know that comments means what? Whenever you wanted to exclude certain portion of the code from web browser to not to process, Those things you have to enclose it by the comments. How do you do that in HTML? These are the syntax for the HTML comments. This is the start of the comment, this is the end of the comment, right? So you have to see this. When I miss start and end syntax, then I got a error with the colored indicator. Okay, that anyway you can get more in following sessions. Clear? This is a comment. So even though I have a content, because I commented them, you will not see it on web browser. If you wanted to give a try quickly, you can just launch it and then see in the web browser. Do you see now? Great. So whenever you see a newspaper, any Hindu, you know, other newspapers, any newspaper typically, right? You always see is like there is a, for every information captured by heading section, body section, and then pictures is applicable, right? If you see that, noticeably headings are in different size. Some headings are like, bigger size, some are like, smaller size, and then bold, and then text is like, unbold, those things, right? So how you're going to manage, certain things like that. So all you have to use like heading tags. HTML supports a 6 different heading tags, which are represented by H1 to H6. This is how you can see. If you can try to see like how HTML recognizes these tags and then renders on web page. Let me run it and then quickly show you. Do you see? So same text, but managed by different tags, and hence you could see different sized string on the web browser. So these are the headings that HTML supports. All right, very great. So far I think we covered this also. Now let's look at a paragraph. Paragraph means like a content that if you wanted to display on the console, you have to use a paragraph. So these are the paragraph. Assuming that like I have like a bunch of data that I included here. Okay, so what I wanted to see, let me run and then see whether it is really displaying what I wanted to, what I would wanted to display on my web browser web page. Oh great, I have a different paragraphs that I created in my a code, but what I could see on console is like one single paragraph. I think something is missing, right? I have to fix it. So what is missing? The missing probably, I'm assuming that something I can display, but I'm not really used proper tags for it. So for representing a paragraph in HTML, we have a tag called P. Okay, this is like this. If I can include my text within this P tag, then it treated as a like a different paragraphs and then displays on my console. I can format things like that using my paragraph. So let me run this. Do you see now? Yes, I have now properly reorganized my entire text into 4 paragraphs, and then which I could see on my web browser. Great. This is what my paragraph does. We can do like plenty of things within paragraph, which we can cover in following sessions. But for now, the summary is like we covered file name, and then the extension of the file name, and then what is the file name that's supposed to be given, what is my root tag, HTML tag information, basic structure of the tags, right? We have a HTML head and then body, and then what title tag does, and then where you have to include it should be within the head section, and then how do you do HTML comments within your HTML page, what is the syntax for it, which also we covered, and heading tags, different headings, how you going to manage within HTML is what we also covered, and then paragraph. Got it? These are all things that we covered so far. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, click on bell icon and leave the comments. Happy learning. Thank you. Stay tuned to upcoming sessions.